So to me, love is this extremely unconditional feeling and sense of care and affection you have for something or someone. And I've also heard this advice subsequently that you need to love what you study and you need to love this subject on an academic level. And I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, because I don't love any subject on an academic level. I've always been interested in multiple subjects like economics, politics, history, or whatever. And the reason why I chose computer science, it's more of like, it opens up, it gives me avenues to get into my dream career. And it's also the most bearable thing from that entire lot. You know, people who want to get into industry or want to form a career out of university, and the people who choose university as a reliable path to get there, don't necessarily need to enjoy what they're studying. And I'm just going to explain why, right? Because you don't really need the stuff you study at, especially at like, you know, your third and fourth years of university, for the progression of your career. Like to me, like doing computer science, like when I moved in like to my third year kind of like stage of university life, a lot of classes I'm taking are very abstract and very high level and whatever. There are a lot of application based classes, but there are also these very hard mathematical proof based kind of courses. And there is not a single profession I'm interested in that will directly benefit from me absolutely excelling in that respective subject. Now, don't get me wrong, like I've been able to solve problems much better and just, you know, work more consistently better and just like think of abstract like topics in a better way ever since I came to university. But the subject matter and excelling in that respective subject matter is not necessarily something that is going to benefit me in the long run. And the reason why I want to kind of like emphasize on this point is because I feel like having this extremely romantic relationship with like your subject is not necessary, because sometimes a degree and a major, it just opens up pathways for you, and you might not be an academic at heart. And what I mean by academic at heart is like you might not want to give to that subject to the point where like you want to be like a professor or like someone who wants to actually contribute to the articles and the literature of that subject, you know. And I think it's very good to recognize that early, to say that, okay, I don't love this subject enough to actually go down that route, because there are a lot of academics who I absolutely respect who live and breathe these subjects, right? So you need to be very honest with yourself through university, and I think it's completely fine for you to not love what you're doing. And that's kind of like the entire point of this video, to kind of say that, you know, you don't need to enjoy every single part of your degree, and you don't need to wake up every single morning and say, oh, I'm extremely glad to study what I'm going to study today. Because assignments, they're annoying. Like you have deadlines. Exams, the most annoying BS like nonsensical thing in the world. Like it takes out so much of my time, and you lose sleep and you're stressed and stuff like that. And that's just part of like the university kind of like lifestyle. And you know, sometimes you might wonder like, okay, what's the point? And you know, honestly, this is the most reliable, like university and going through university is, just like I said before, the most reliable way to get into industry as of now. Like one thing I always cherish is the network that you get from university, and I think that's just the most important part of university more than the subject matter, because you can learn all these like subject matter like online or whatever. I think meeting people who help you to get into these like industrial kind of like placements and whatnot would be like the most fantastic part about university, if anything. At least to me, like that was the most interesting part. And like I said, like it's okay to have a bunch of inconveniences in your path to like forming your dream career, and most of those inconveniences are bound to come when you're in school, you know, where you're struggling and you're staying up and losing a bit of sleep and just like, you know, really hustling through the tough parts of school. The whole point is that a bit of short-term inconvenience might be really great in the long run, because like it opens up certain pathways for you that you'd enjoy taking like later on. And I feel like we have to play the game and kind of take a few L's and just have a few bad days, and that's completely fine. And this very romanticized like version of university is not really like that story for everyone. At least it's not the story for me. But you know, looking back, I wouldn't change a single thing. Like I would still come back and do this school thing and just like, really like struggle through school and do well in school and also do well in my career and stuff like that. But it's just part of like the entire process, and the earlier you realize that and internalize that and understand that it's all going to be worth it in the long run, I think your life is just going to be much simpler and more enjoyable. And I just want to kind of put that out there, and just want to kind of like just have a more realistic take on university degree choices in general. But yeah, I hope that was helpful, and thank you. If you have different thoughts, just let me know. I'd like to hear them too. Yeah.